Hello, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. We've made a signing. Nemanja Matic has signed for Manchester United, as we all know, and we've known for a few hours now. And it's a reality, an absolute reality. And I've got to be totally honest with you, I didn't think I'd feel this happy about Matic signing for Manchester United. Nothing to do with Matic and himself, but the fact that we've actually signed somebody is quite an exciting prospect. And I think suddenly there's a feeling of optimism around Manchester United. Whatever you think about Matic and whatever you think about what he'll bring to Manchester United, which I want to talk about tonight, it is an extra player. It is a player with Premier League calibre, and it's a player that Jose Mourinho wants, and it's a player that wants to play for Manchester United. And that's a positive, because I think when I said on the reaction video, it's better than nobody, well, we're 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, a week and a half virtually from the Premier League season. Of course Matic is better than nobody, and actually it gives us another... Look, people will get annoyed when he gets mentioned in the same sentence as Fellaini, but if he means less Fellaini, then that has to be a positive, because the midfield has lacked a midfield three of quality for a while, and if it is Herrera, Matic and Pogba, I personally wouldn't do that because I want to see a number 10 in the team, but that is Premier League quality, and we need... The signings this season seem to be very Premier League driven, and I don't think that's a coincidence that Lukaku, one of the best strikers in the Premier League over the last few years, Matic, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League over the last few years, Herrera's already here, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League over the last couple of years, Pogba going to be the best midfielder in the Premier League this year, Bale going to be one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. So you can see where I'm going with this, and I think our season is really geared up for the Premier League. And as I've said, and I've kept saying it even before these signings, and it's a total head thing that Mourinho wins the Premier League in his first 2 years, I've been pretty consistent that that's what I think will happen. Who's going to come in next is what I'm thinking. Who will come in next? Will it be Serge Aurier from PSG, which, you know, I think that's a nice bonus signing, but what I really, really want, and I'm not going to sing Spice Girls, don't worry, but I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want Perisic at Manchester United. There's still talk of Bale. Maybe Bale is the stretch. Maybe Bale's the dream. Maybe Bale's unrealistic. But Perisic is realistic. And I'm sort of finding myself, I don't know about you lot, I'm sort of finding myself dropping into this groove now where, yeah, they're not star signings, they're not marquee signings, but they all improve us in their own way. Lindelof, if he can form a partnership with Bale, then that's what we need. Rojo will be back at Christmas. We've got some good depth in defence. Lukaku is a Premier League goal scorer, and I think he gives us more than Zlatan, and maybe Zlatan will come back at Christmas and give us some depth. Matic is another man in the midfield. We had to sign a centre defence midfielder. Of course, some of us wanted different types of player, but manager is Mourinho and we want him to succeed. I've had people contacting me today saying, why are you now being positive because Matic has signed? I think I've been pretty consistent, and I think a lot of people have been consistent. Didn't really want that type of player, but when he signs for Manchester United, it's not like Fellaini, who's been here for 4 years and let us down. He's been here for 4 minutes. It'd be wrong, it'd be absolutely petulant and anti-Manchester United and not a fan of the club to be moaning like a spoilt brat saying, I hate Matic, he's rubbish, I don't know why we've signed him. 1, that wouldn't be back in the manager that I trust, and 2, that wouldn't be back in the team that I support. He's got to be given a chance, and as I said, I hope I'm proved wrong on Matic, I really do. I think it's a risk. I am a bit worried about it, but I'm excited by it as well, because it should mean less Fellaini. We can't see a midfield two of Fellaini and Matic. That would make me cry. So Matic has got to be the one who comes in, and when you look at the Europa League final, when it was Herrera, Pogba and Fellaini, that should never happen again in important games. It should be Herrera, Matic and Pogba, and that as a midfield three, to be honest, it's not too bad. Perisic is the player I want to get in. I mean, Bale's the dream. If we don't get Bale, I want Perisic. I think he will bring... It'd be very similar to Matic and Lindelof and Lukaku in a way. Not a Premier League proven, but an experienced, hard-working, quick, skillful, tall grafter of a winger, and I think that's really, really important for us. So I'm hoping if we can get Perisic done now, I'll feel a lot more optimistic about this season that is coming up. I think it's the only thing I have a slight concern of is Martial. Again, I've heard Martial on loan again today. I don't understand it. I think Martial was fantastic in the second half last night against Valerenga. He obviously got that goal out of nothing against Real Madrid. I think Martial looks like he's doing exactly the things that Mourinho wanted him to do that maybe he didn't do last season. Why would we get rid of Martial? And another thing, even if you don't like Martial, which I would be surprised about, and that's apparently some people don't, why would we get rid of him? We haven't got any depth. The one place we don't have depth now is in the attack. As I said, if you played Martial and Rashford as wingers with Lukaku up front, we don't actually have a striker on the bench. So letting Martial go would be ridiculous. I think what will probably happen is get Perisic in, play him on the left, have Martial on the bench, or play him in the front two when we want to be more attacking. That's what I see Martial's role this season, sort of forcing his way in off the bench. And I'd be more than happy with that. So we're going to do Skype show anyway. We're going to do the Skype show tonight and let everybody get in and have their say on Matic, on anything you want to talk about really. So remember to drop a like on the video, get involved, get sharing the video, and have your say. I've got to say, there's a live super chat here. Orison, regular on the show, says, I know I'm only dreaming, but I wish we'd got Belletti, or we wish we'd get Balotelli. I thought he said Belotti. He says Balotelli. I wish we'd got Balotelli. I don't know whether that's a mistype, but each to their own. It's all about opinion. Okay, we're going to open up Skype. We're going to start taking your calls, and let me have a quick look. Sorry, I don't know why I went quiet there. Andrew Thompson, Richard, Mark, do you think Mourinho get his eyes set in the league more and why that's why he brought Matic? I think we have to be based on the league more than the Premier League, to be honest. Sorry, the league more than the Champions League, because we need to win the Champions League. Jordan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect, pal. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thanks. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, well, I guess first off, I'll start off with Matic. I'm going to be positive about this signing, and unfortunately, I think it's largely due to, this season we've been toyed with the media, promises of, 48-hour medicals, putting faith in Di Marzio, with Fabinho, Nainggolan, all these other players that we've been linked up. I think I'm just happy with the signing, which is unfortunate that it's come to this, level. But I think that Matic can offer something to the team. I'm trying to think positive about it. He is Jose's signing, and whether it's his first option, second option, third, or whatever it is on the list, I'm sure we'd all like to know what the list actually is. But with Matic, I feel like, much with Carvalho, I remember a few years back, Carvalho used to always, he used to trot the globe with Jose. Wherever Jose went, he went, because he was a player he trusted. And I think this might be the third time that Jose signed Matic. I'm not sure, maybe second, maybe third, but he knows what Matic is about, more than any other manager probably. Hopefully, I'm hoping, at times it's hard from outside, being a fan to look in, but hopefully Jose knows the voids that we need to fill, and hopefully it's a match made in heaven next season. But yeah, I'm trying to be positive, but I think I'm just happy to sign anyone. I think at times this summer I would have happy, bringing Cleverley back. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy with that we've made a signing, but I think Matic can work.
Yeah, I've got to be fair as well. I think one thing I've always been consistent is that I didn't want Matic, and I'll be honest about that, but I wanted Morata over Lukaku, and when Lukaku signed, I've been very happy to have him. I've always said that Matic is a good player. I've never said he wasn't a bad player. What I've said is I just don't like... I think he's a bit slow, and we'll find out over the season whether he is. But my big positive is that it surely does mean the end of Fellaini as a first-team player, and let's be honest, people say, oh, Fellaini's only a bit part player. I'd argue with that. You look at the stats over last season, I'd class him as a first-team player. He played a lot of games, and if Matic means the end of Fellaini, but then it also means that Mourinho gets his tall player, because Mourinho obviously wants a tall player in the midfield, because it is... I don't like it, but if you have that tall player playing in front of the back four, it protects you if you do play Daley Blind as a centre-back, because they can't get the ball in to exploit the smaller defender. So that's why he does it, and Matic is a better midfielder than Fellaini, so that's a positive. I mentioned Perisic or Bale. We definitely need a winger. What do you think is realistic?
For I'd like a whole, there's a whole list of players that I'd like to bring in, but realistically, it looks like, there's no smoke without fire. I know this summer has been, even Demartio has let us down, but Perisic, obviously there is something going on. Maybe we were in talks early on in the summer, and maybe we bulked at the fee they were asking for. But I think Perisic, from what I've seen him on the tour, he is scoring against Premier League sides, and it may be pre-season, but these are competitive sides. No team wants to lose, and he's performed really well against Chelsea. He's performed well for Inter Milan, and they clearly want to keep him. I feel like Perisic is realistic. I think Bale, keep dreaming. It's never going to happen. Every single summer, it's like Schneider. It's like who's that player went athletic? Gaetan. Every season we're linked with him. It's not going to happen. It's an agenda. I feel like the press want him to come to Man United. They want him back in the UK, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's winning the Champions League consistently, which is ridiculous at Real Madrid. So I think Perisic is really the only realistic signing, and I think he'd be good for us. But I don't know. Personally, I think, and this is leading on to something else a little bit, but with our tour, for example, I feel like Pereira could be playing wings. I don't know. I feel like Pereira, him being played deep on this tour, I feel like it's been a smokescreen, because we're not being allowed to see the player we all know he can be, the creative player in behind the striker or on the wings. He's very good from crosses, so which obviously means he could probably cross it into the striker in Lukaku. He's a free kick taker. I feel like we should have played Pereira in this tour, but unfortunately we haven't. And due to that, I think personally Pereira is going to leave, because I don't think he's going to sign a new contract, because he was flirting with Juventus 2 seasons ago with not getting any game time, and he's gone on tour to a team that's been relegated, and he's not had any games at United. I don't think he's going to sign that new contract. I think he's going to go flirting with Juventus or go flirting with another team again. He's going to get his chance, and we're going to miss out. But I think realistically, Perisic, if we're talking about signings, I think Perisic is the only realistic one. He's the only one I've heard of, and he looks good. He is old, but clearly Jose wants experience, and that's something we have to realise as well. Jose wants experience over youth, and Perisic looks like the signing. So all depends if Jose and Ed Woodward and the Glazers put the money in, but we'll have to wait and see.
Good points. Thanks for calling in, Jordan. Sorry, first time on the show. Really good call. Where are you calling from?
From South East London.
South East London. Well, thanks for calling, pal, and please do call in again.
Cheers, mate. Nice one. Thanks.
Thank you. Somebody was on about Alexis Sanchez in the live comments. I was sort of wandering off there, to be honest, to try and find out if there's anything in it. But he's off to Manchester City. That's where I think he will go. Let's have a look what people are saying in the comments. Pereira isn't leaving, says MDV Gaming HD. Obviously Jordan was on about that then. I like Pereira. Obviously I really like Pereira, you know that. But we've got to be a little bit careful. To get him to sign a new contract, I think we've got to show him... I would be amazed if he's not like we are, thinking he's ready to play. If Mourinho thinks he can keep him and on the bench for 20 minutes a season like he did with Fosu Mensah last year, then we will lose him. He's got to use him. Lose him or abuse him, and that's what will happen. There's lots of people calling in, so I'm going to take a call. That's the way it goes on the United stand. Let's have a look what we got. Actually, I thought it was. I was nearly going to click that call there. Okay, let's try. Oh, it's Damien. I think Damien's been on before. Damien, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let me just turn the thing down. Hello?
Hello?
Hi. You okay?
Yeah, you. What do you want to talk about?
Maybe just, how about let's have a starting 11. It's good to tinker around this, that and the other, but, we've not had a starting 11. If you take any team like Real Madrid, they have a starting 11. Chelsea had a starting 11. Teams have a starting 11 and we don't.
In what? In the way that you can't pick a starting 11, or that I'm not too sure what you're at there. Because I mean, if I was to give you my starting 11 for United now, it's De Gea in goal, Valencia, Bale, Lindelof. Unfortunately, Darmian at left back. It's probably, hopefully now, Matic, Pogba, Herrera, Lukaku up front, and I think he probably plays Mkhitaryan and Lingard.
Yeah, but I mean, like a starting 11 and a formation that we will consistently play. where we will know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's got to he's got to figure that out this season. I certainly don't want to see the 4-3-3. You know, regardless of whether he signs Matic and Perisic, we're not creating enough chances. And I think he needs to find out. I mean, we saw 2 formations last night. What do you think's best for Manchester United in relation to the formation?
Well, it all depends on the personnel, doesn't it? I mean, if we get Perisic, then all of a sudden the 3-5-2 might be the surprise package. We be the surprise package of the season, gives us a lot of flexibility, especially with now Matic in the team.
Because I'd agree with that. Yeah,
it's just the thing is, we've been 18 months now with Jose, and we still have not had a definitive starting 11 that people are going to be worried about, or people are going to be, more importantly, people are going to be looking forward to playing, or people will be disappointed if one of them's not playing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's almost like a bingo calling thing. You know, somebody's who's going to fill in here. You know, who's going to think. It's who's going to be playing on the right wing this week. You know, we don't want that. We want a settled team. If you look at Real Madrid, if you take one peg out of that team, you take Casemiro out, they don't win the ball. You take Toni Kroos out, they don't control the game. You take Modric out, there's no patrolling of the defence. You take Ronaldo out, they don't. You take Benzema out, there's no hold-up play. They have a starting 11 that has a pivotal role, and teams fear it, and we don't have that.
So where do you think we're going to finish this season then? Because there's a lot of people saying you're being a bit negative. Everyone's got an opinion.
I'm not being negative. I'm not being negative at all. And I think, well, to be honest, I thought we'd win the season last season. But with Matic coming in, if we get Perisic, and let me be clear, Jose's greatest achievement last season was getting Rooney out of the team without damaging Rooney's ego, the club's ego, and simultaneously building Man United's team spirit. That was Mourinho's greatest achievement last season. With Matic coming in, a player that he already knows to plug the gap, if we get Perisic, we're definitely going to win the league, because we have already won the league in team spirit. He's galvanised us. And this whole, this Fellaini thing, it's a master. Matic coming in is a masterstroke, because he's going to be ghosting Fellaini out of the team just the same way he did Rooney. It's Mourinho. It's a masterstroke. He learned from what happened in the dressing room at Chelsea, and now he's just going to control everything. This guy knows more about football than any of us. That's why we all back him. Trust me, we've got it boxed. We get Perisic, I think it's all over.
I agree with you, Damon. I do think that he is the signing that we sort of need to make to complete this summer now. But we'll see what other people have got to say. Thanks for calling, as ever, and please do call in again.
Okay, bye.
Cheers, pal.
Bye.
So, some people are saying Damien's negative there. I do agree with him. I think we do need to sort the formation out, and we do need to sort our starting 11 out. I think he's bang on about that. And for those people who were saying he was negative, at the end there, he's saying, well, the one thing that Mourinho has got is the spirit. And, regardless of how we played on the US tour, and it wasn't great at times, you can see the spirit in the team is fantastic. And to have that squad mentality and team mentality when you've just got rid of Mr. Manchester United for the last few years in Wayne Rooney, who was the club captain, the biggest earner, the biggest influence in the dressing room when you listen to people like Rashford. To get rid of that and then not for it to go into a little bit of mourning and to be everybody really buzzing, that is big for Mourinho. And we must remember that this season. We have got rid of Rooney, and that got rid sounds wrong, but Rooney has left the club, and regardless of his dwindling talent, he's still a massive player and a massive player to get to move out of the club. And no, that doesn't really get any mention. So I agree, Mourinho deserves a lot of credit for that. And I think we are doing very, very well. Let's try this guy. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Is it Keenan?
Yeah. Hey, Mark. First time I've been on here.
Cool. All right. What do you want to talk about?
Right. Well, I've had a thought. Next season, I think a lot of us want to play the 3-5-2, don't we? I think that's the formation that a lot of us will hope that we're playing next season with, the three midfielders and then Perisic out wide on the left wing back and Lukaku and Martial up front, right?
Yeah.
I would have thought we need another striker, I think, if we're going to play that 3-5-2. Think of all the great United teams, the 99 team. There was 4 quality strikers that season. We've only got 3 at the moment. Say one of them get injured, then we're left with 2 and then on the bench. So what I've been thinking is that we need another striker, maybe if we're going to play that formation. And what about someone like Moussa Dembele from Celtic? Because, he's 30 million, I think he's valued at 30 million, isn't he? Celtic are willing to sell him for 30 million, something like that. And what you're getting with him, he's 6 foot as well. He's 6 foot, 30 goals last season. Yeah, okay, you can say it was a Scottish Premier League, but he's done it when it matters, and he's fast. He's only 21 still. He's got world class potential. I don't see why we're not in for him, because he's 30 million. Name other strikers that have 30 goals last season and are valued at that much. And, like I said, he's only 21. And I think Mourinho would love him because he's fast and he's tall. So, I think that's what puzzles me why we're not going for him at the moment.
I think you're spot on. I do think we need another striker, by the way. It's even if we don't play the 2 up front, which I think hopefully we will do. As I said, you could argue that Martial's our best left winger at the moment. Rashford, I think, is a better right winger than Lingard. And then Lukaku up front, and then you haven't actually got a striker on the bench to bring on. You're forced to play Lingard or Mata or Mkhitaryan as a left winger, which I don't like. You're forced to play them there just so you can put Martial or Rashford on the bench. So you've got a sub, so you actually have a striker on the bench if Lukaku has a bad game.
Yeah.
So I think we do need another striker. There's nothing in the youth setup. Dembele from Celtic's not a bad shout. Whether we're actually going to sign somebody or not, I do not know. I mean, I've seen a few people tonight going on about Alexis Sanchez. I think he'll go to City, but he would be a very good player in that 3-5-2 to play off Lukaku where Martial's been playing. So it could be a support striker we could go for.
And also, the thing with the 3-5-2 is that, think about Pogba. I think Pogba was playing with Juventus, he was playing in a 3-5-2, and he was playing on the left-hand side. And I think we would get the best out of Pogba if we do play that formation. And I think we'd also get the best out of Lukaku if we have someone a bit like Griezmann that's not an out-and-out striker with Lukaku, but is one a bit like a false 9 that drops in and links the play up with the midfield. So I think somebody, like you say, somebody that can drop in and just support with Lukaku, I think that'd be a good shout for United next season. But whether we're going to do that or not, I'm not sure.
Just a
it's positive news with Aurier.
Little bit of breaking news. I don't know whether you just said the name anyway, but Serge Aurier is apparently going to sign for United on the 7th or the 8th if he can sort this court case out. I remember us being linked to him in January. I like him, 24 years of age, plays as a right back, absolute beast, almost Valencia reincarnated. Probably need a left back more, but I would welcome him because Valencia is 31 now, and this would be our potential right back for the next few years. I don't believe Fosu Mendes is a right back. I love him, but I don't believe he's a right back. So I would welcome him at the club, and especially if it's another little hint that maybe, like you're saying there, we are going to play this 3-5-2, and Valencia playing 60 games as the right wing back. I agree with you. I think Perisic could be the left wing back. So Aurier gives us those options. I don't know what you think about him.
I like Aurier. He's like you say, he's a bit like he's the same as Valencia kind of player. He's very strong, very fast, and under Mourinho's guidance, he has got a bit of a lack of discipline sometimes. But under Mourinho's guidance, I think he could take him on and become and do really well. But that's the thing that I'm concerned about. What about Fosu-Mensah? Because if Jose doesn't really want to, he's reluctant to use him in the CDM position. So I'm just wondering what's going to happen to him, because he didn't give him that many minutes last season. So I'm just wondering if we're going to sign another right back, he's not really going to use Fosu-Mensah at all then, which is a bit concerning if it's true.
I think Fosu-Mensah should go on loan, to be honest. I think if he's not going to get many minutes this season, do put him on loan. And some people take that as a negative, but look at what it did to Pereira. I think if Fosu-Mensah went on loan to somebody like, I always say Bournemouth, because I think they're a team that they're not going to get relegated. They're probably not going to be in the top half. But 38 games for Bournemouth in the midfield next season, I think Fosu-Mensah would come back and we'd know full well whether he is a midfielder or not. And I think that's the best move for Fosu Mensah. I'd love him to go on loan because I think it'll be the making of him.
Same, yeah. I totally agree with that. I think get him some Premier League experience with another club. 20 games a season, he'll be come back. Then we can reevaluate his position then and things like that. But yeah.
Well, thanks very much. I know it's your debut, so I want to say well done, Keenan. Really, really, really good call. Really appreciated it. Fast-paced, lots of opinion, which is what we want. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from, I'm originally from Manchester, but now I'm calling in Weymouth on the south coast. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling, pal. Please do call in again.
Cheers, Mark.
Really enjoyed it.
Cheers for having me on.
Thank you. No worries.
Thank you.
Which reminds me, actually, everybody, please do drop a like on the video. It is Skype Goldbridge. We do this on a Monday and a Thursday night, and you're very fortunate tonight. It's the first one where we've actually had it, where there's been a signing at 4 o'clock, and you can come on. Not enough people coming on and speaking about our man Matic, to be honest. Hopefully, some of you will do that. I'm going to get a few more calls on. I've just clicked somebody here. Hopefully, this is going to work. Skype's a bit temperamental tonight, so remember to drop a like and support the callers. This is that's what it's all about. Have I got a caller now? He says.
Yeah, hi Mark.
Oh, Mark. From one Mark to another. How are you doing?
I'm alright. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanks. To be honest with you, I'm actually feeling a lot better than I thought I would on the day that Matic signed for United, because I feel like it's a weight lifted now. I've been really against it all summer. I've known it's going to happen for 2 weeks, and now it's happened. I can deal with it. I can support him. I can get behind Mourinho because I love Mourinho. I love Manchester United, and it's like, I hope it works. I really do. We've all had our preferences. Some people wanted Fabinho, like me. Some people wanted Nainggolan. Some people wanted Eric Dyer. But we are where we are now, and at least it's a body in the midfield. And I don't know whether he can play on Wednesday, but I'm looking forward to the options and hopefully less of Fellaini.
Well, I've got to say, number one, you do look a bit better on the TV. That spaghetti's not on your chin. And moving on from that, I just wanted to go across the game that we played the other night. I did actually get to watch that one, luckily enough. And I've got to say, first half I thought was very, very slow. I didn't like the way that the game played out at all. But the second half, I think, was
this last night's game?
Was that
Valerenga?
Yes, yeah. I think that the first half was way too slow. I didn't like the setup at all. Didn't like the team. Well, I did like the team because they're all first-team players, but I just didn't like the way it played out. And again, it just seemed, very Van Gaal. And I thought we were moving on from that. However, the second half, totally different. And I think. I was listening to you on Sunday, and you said your man of the match was Martial. I think my man of the match was Pereira. I think he was outstanding. I think he's had an outstanding tour, and I just hope and pray that the boss has, has seen what everyone else has seen with Pereira this year. I just think he deserves his shot. I really do. I'll be really disappointed if he doesn't get a first team spot or on the bench every single week and coming on.
I think he it's
deserves
a good point, Mark.
Really
just to cut in there, I don't know what you think, but I actually think he will, because of what the previous caller said, and I've said it myself. His contract is up in a year, so you're only going to antagonise him if you don't use him or you loan him out again, and he will think, well, you obviously don't fancy me. So I think I think he should be playing like you, just based on his talent. But also, I think he's sort of got Mourinho by the crotch, really, because it's like, if he doesn't please him this season, he doesn't play him, then he has got that option of going for nothing and not signing a new contract. So I think Mourinho's got to play him, or he will leave.
Well, when you watched him in that second half, he was like a breath of fresh air. I mean, he put in that crunching challenge on that lad, and that was a breath of fresh air. That was a bit of a Scholes or Keane-esque on him, and I thought, wow, this is exactly what we need. Someone who's actually going to put a tackle in, but someone who's got some quality. I mean, there was a time as well we were stuck right in the middle of the half, did a few little jigs here and there, got away from like 3 or 4 players, played the ball off, and we're on the attack. We've been missing that for so long, and that's what we desperately need. He needs to be played. I just think as well, me, like you, I didn't really want Matic. I'll be quite honest. I was quite under the opinion that he wasn't my first choice. I've said time and time again, Fabinho was my first choice, but we didn't get him. We need to move on. Matic is the man. I was watching his interview earlier on MUTV, and I've got to say his attitude was really, really good, really, really positive.
He's definitely
intellect for the
he's
game.
a bit like Lukaku, isn't it? You know, Lukaku wasn't my first choice, but as soon as he signed, I don't know. I think it's inbuilt into Manchester United fans. I think we're very intelligent and we know our football. And to look at Matic and Lukaku and have concerns, I believe, is right. But the minute they sign for us, there's sort of that mentality, isn't there? Now that he's one of us, he's our player, and we're not going to start. You know, people will say, "Well, you get on Fellaini's back." Well, that's based on 4 years of not very good football. However, I still, last season, when some United fans booed him at Old Trafford, I was dead against it. I don't like that. I think we can all, on a fan forum, have our conversations about somebody when they've had a bad game. I mean, you know, we've slated people like Rooney on here, who's a United legend, but that's fan content. Once Matic is signed now, he is a United player. Doesn't matter whether we wanted him or not. He is a Man United player. He is Mourinho's pick. And as fans, I personally, and I think you're probably the same, Mark, and I think everyone else is at home, he's our player now. If people want to start taking a pop at him, like Spurs or Chelsea or Liverpool fans, we'll defend him because he's our player now.
Well, he said something that was quite positive earlier on, and I've got to say his attitude was very positive. He said that, again, he seemed to get it that United was one of the biggest clubs in the world. He said as soon as United came knocking on his door, he didn't want anything to do with Chelsea anymore, which makes me think, you know, maybe the rumours were right. Maybe Chelsea did want to keep him. He said he wanted to leave Chelsea. His talking is very, very intellectual in his interview. And he just sounded really, really positive. And he said he's played under Jose Mourinho 3 times. And I just wonder last season maybe whether Matic his heart wasn't in Chelsea last season after Mourinho had gone. I just wonder, I know we say that Kante was like the backup man for him and he didn't seem very good last season, but I just wonder if there was a kind of thing there. He didn't want to go with Chelsea on tour this year. He makes that clear in the interview as well. He wanted to stay at home and do training. And I think that's pretty much due to the fact that Mourinho came calling. And he's just thought, well, if I've got another chance to play for United, I've got to play with Mourinho and United. Sorry. I just wonder maybe in the back of my mind, you know, maybe that's what he wanted. And maybe that's why we have got him. You know, I just don't know. That's just my opinion on it now. My opinion a little while ago was different. But after listening to him again and, you know, getting what he's saying, I just think I think he's quite a positive signing now, to be honest. That's my honest opinion now.
I agree with you, Mark. Thanks for calling as ever. Please do call in again.
No worries.
And I totally agree with you on Matic, so thanks, pal. Speak to you again soon.
Indeed. Thanks very much indeed.
Ta-ra.
Cheers, Mark.
I think that encapsulates it there. Exactly. You know, people can say, oh, you moaned about Matic before. Well, yeah, I did. I think a lot of us did. But I haven't really read anybody since Matic has signed saying he's useless, I don't want him. I haven't. And as I said, people have watched the United stand. I've always said that the minute he signs is the minute I'll stop moaning about it and I'll back him. Because we will be mocked. I haven't really looked on social media because I've had a busy day, but I'm sure there are Liverpool fans out there going banter, 40 million and everything like that. 35 million plus 5 million in add-ons, which if he's a successful signing, we will pay 40 million for him. So I will call it 40 million, which is too much. I mean, let's have a look at Robin Van Persie 5 years ago. We paid 25 million for him and he was 29. Matic is 29 tomorrow and we've paid 40 million. It is too much, I'll be honest about that. But that's the market. That's not Matic. That's not Manchester United. That's the market. And maybe Mourinho wanted Eric Dyer, who's a similar player to Matic. He's a bit younger. But 60 million is what Spurs wanted. That's too much. So, you know, I'm not unhappy with it. And as Mark was saying there, the positives about Matic, and I was even saying this last night, to be honest, the positives about Matic, and I don't need to go and watch YouTube and hits. I've read somebody there saying, oh, I like Matic now because I've been watching him on YouTube. Look, I know Matic well enough over the years in the Premier League to know what sort of player he is, and many of us do. But one thing he does do that Fellaini can't, and I do compare him to Fellaini, and some people get mad about this, but the Europa League final, we had Pogba, Herrera and Fellaini in our midfield. Now Herrera's not getting dropped, Pogba's not getting dropped, so our new 40 million midfielder is taking Fellaini's position. So straight away, it is totally right to compare Matic to Fellaini. And regardless of what my thoughts or anybody else's thoughts were before, Matic against Fellaini as a midfielder is a world of difference. We're getting a much, much better player. So our midfield's better straight away. Maybe it could have been better with a different type of player, but even so, Matic makes our midfield infinitely better because he can pass the ball, he can switch to play 40 yards, he's got a decent left foot, he actually isn't bad at dribbling. I think he shocks people with that, and he's got a good shot on him. So he gives us a hell of a lot more. And what I think he needs to do, and I'll stand by what I said last night. I think this Matic frees Pogba thing is a joke. As I said last night, Pogba's not in prison. He's not Nelson Mandela, and he's been freed. That's not what Matic doesn't free Pogba. What Matic does is if he plays alongside Herrera, it should allow Mourinho to free Pogba because he's got the confidence that Matic and Herrera can handle the defensive side of things and free Pogba. It's Mourinho who frees Pogba, and Mourinho didn't dare free Pogba last season because he didn't trust Fellaini enough to do the job defensively, that he needed Pogba to graft in there as well. So that the signing itself could free him, but it's up to Jose, and whether he'll free him or not, I hope he does. So look, Matic has got a lot better attributes than Fellaini, and it is bang on to compare him to Fellaini as far as I'm concerned. Let's talk about what did I want to talk about? There is a little bit of breaking news. Well, I know it's a bit all over the place tonight, but actually, to be honest with you, very encouraged by the positivity around this signing. Like I said, I feel different. A week ago, when we were going to sign him, I was depressed about it. Now we've signed him, I just feel relieved. I feel relieved that we've got a midfielder in, and I'm really positive. I know Saturday night we thought we were selling Fellaini. I don't think we will sell Fellaini, but I do think we'll see less of Fellaini, and that makes me happy. And you know what? I want to give this man a chance. I do want to give him a chance because he's not my pick, but he's Mourinho's pick. And as you all know, I'm a massive, massive Jose Mourinho fan. I don't agree with everything he does, but that's life. Nobody gets it right totally. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited by what we might achieve this season. I'm trying to get you on, Tyrone. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully it will connect to a lot of people. I'm still going to take a few more calls, don't worry. Don't know whether I managed to get Tyrone there. No, I think I missed. I wanted to get him on because what I want to talk about is Serge Aurier. Serge Aurier will be signing for Manchester United if he gets away with the court case, which is coming up very, very soon. I think it's the 7th or the 8th of August, so a week today or a week tomorrow. Let me see if we can get him on. So, yeah, Serge Aurier is a player I really, really like. Have I got you, Tyrone? Are you on now?
Yeah, mate, I'm on now.
Yeah, the reason I clicked you is because I saw your comment before about Serge Aurier. I keep calling him Oreo. I like Oreo biscuits. Serge Aurier, give us your thoughts on him as a United player. Would you welcome him at the club?
I'd welcome him only because I think Valencia at 31, he's probably not as good as he used to be. So it's good that we've got some competition coming in.
Yeah, 24 years of age, an absolute beast, very, very quick. Some people sort of say he can play as a right winger. Some people say he can play as a left back. I've got to be honest, I've only ever known him as a right back, and he is a hothead. He is a hothead, but that's not the sort of thing that bothers me when we've got Jose Mourinho as manager. It's the same when we had Sir Alex Ferguson. A player with a bad reputation doesn't bother a manager who is the best in the world, and if anybody can sort him out, I mean, Mourinho sorted Balotelli out for a little bit, so I'm sure he can do it. I'm sure he can do it with this lad.
Yeah, I reckon he'll come in. He'll be a hothead, but we need some characters in the team. You know, we've got too many shrinking violets at the moment.
Yeah,
so it'd be good to have him in.
Herrera, Bailly, Valencia, Pogba, Rashford, you know, Lukaku. Now we are getting more and more.
Yeah.
One thing you can see with Matic is, you know, Pep might want his little tiki-taka footballers, but United next season are a team of, as you just said there, it's, you know, a team of monsters in a way. Some really strong physical players who, you know, we're not going to be shrinking violets anymore.
I think Nemanja's chant is going to come back when Matic plays. Hopefully, they'll be singing it at Old Trafford.
What do you think about Matic, the signing? I can't remember what you said before, because obviously Tyron's a regular. I see him on the live comments a lot. He's been on the Skype show a bit. So I can't remember what your thoughts were around Matic before and what your feelings now.
I didn't want him in. I wanted someone like Fabinho or Julian Weigl, but I did say he's not as bad as people are making out. He's got a very, very good passing range, I said. So, he might not be my first choice, but I'm actually glad that he's coming over Eric Dyer, to be honest. So, let's get behind him.
Yeah, and the great thing is, I think most fans pretty much are of that opinion now. A signing's always exciting anyway, and I think we will be buzzing for 24 or 48 hours because it is a positive whether you want him or not.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he is your typical sort of European footballer. He's not he's not a party boy. He's not like that. Football is his career, and he's very dedicated in that, and he's a very consistent player. I mean, the one thing Matic has always been is very consistent, and that's, I think, what Mourinho likes. And loyal. Mourinho used the word loyal. So I hope it really, really works out. I think fans are right to maybe have a few reservations, the similar ones to Lukaku, really, but hopefully it will work out. What about the next signing? Obviously, we spoke about Sergio Aurier. That could happen in a week's time. We know for a fact that we want Perisic. Do you think we can get Perisic done? Do you think the ship has gone there? I heard a rumour that he might sign a new contract today at Inter. And if that ship sailed, do you think we then just make do with what we've got? Or do you think there is a chance of a Gareth Bale or somebody else?
I think if Perisic comes in, which I can see happening, it'll be a good signing. I think we still need an extra wide player. And we need another striker as well. I don't think Perisic is going to be enough.
I do agree with you about a striker. I mean, the thing is, though, who could we get now? I mean, Mourinho sort of said one. Sorry?
Gabbiadini, Southampton.
If you'd said that to me around February time, I would have said yes. But I think he sort of went off the boil a lot, and you'd wonder how much Southampton would want for him as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to sign another striker was where I was going to come to with that, because I think the perfect striker to get at a very reasonable price has just signed for West Ham, and I think that's what we need. We don't necessarily need a first team striker. We need a backup striker, or we need to go and get somebody like Alexis Sanchez who can just play up front with Lukaku, which I don't think we will do. So I think easily, or I mean, I don't know what about you think about formations, but if we did go with the 3-5-2, then you could play Bale off Lukaku.
You could actually. I think that would work really nice.
Whether we'll do it or not is another matter. But I personally think, you know what? I don't think anybody. I've not heard anybody say this yet, and I'm sure somebody has. I've just not heard it or read it anywhere. But I have this theory that we, as much as Damien was on about the formation, and I think he was right to say that, I have this theory that we will use 3-5-2 more than people think. I think that's the formation that Mourinho wants to use, and I do think that what his plan was this summer was to have Griezmann as the support striker off the striker, and I think it would have been something beautiful, because I think the formation that he's building was totally built around having that Griezmann player who is basically got the freedom to play off the striker, and behind him is a midfield that is, because it's a back three, he's got 5 midfielders behind him with width, and then you've got 2 up front. The 3-5-2 to me, Tyron, I don't know about you, it feels like cheating, because it's like you get an extra player in the midfield. You've got 3 defenders, and then you've got 5 in the midfield, and then you've got 2 up front. It feels like you're cheating. It feels like you've got an extra player, and I think we need to evolve into that. I don't know what you think.
Well, it's one of them formations where it doesn't have to remain 3-5-2. It can actually change, So, I think it works.
And what about United this season? Are you feeling a little bit more confident now? What were you thinking before? I don't know whether I've ever asked you what your sort of feeling is about next season.
I don't want to say we're going to win the title. I'm not sure. I think we'll challenge for the title, definitely. But I'm not 100% sure we'll win it. I think we're a couple of players away from challenging properly.
You know what? I don't know about you, but I would be happy if we did challenge for the title. We haven't done it since Sir Alex Ferguson. It's been so long since we've done it. I would love it if we can challenge for the title this year.
Yeah, we need to. I don't think we need a new left back though. A lot of people have said we need a left back. I think Mourinho frustrates me because we've got Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, and I never saw him have a bad game for United. I don't understand why he hasn't been given
Where is
more
he?
opportunities. I'm not too sure where he is, but all I know is he's a very good left back, and I think he'd do a good job if he came in.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. He wasn't anywhere near the tour, was he?
No. And then I'm interested. I'm wondering if he's going to bring some young players in, because we've got Tahith Chong in the youth setup, and he's very, very exciting. I just hope he can bring through some young players for the Carling Cups. Just give us a bit of a glimpse of the future.
Yeah, definitely want to see more of Angel Gomez. Thanks for calling,
Exactly,
Tyrone.
yeah.
Great call as ever. And,
Cheers, mate.
Please do call
Thanks.
in again.
All right, take care, mate. Cheers.
You too, pal. Fantastic calls tonight. Never in doubt, because you are all fantastic and you all are very eager to get on, and I appreciate that. And we do try to get as many people on as possible. So thanks everybody who has been calling in. What did I want to say? Let me just sort that out. What I wanted to say there was I was glad that Tyrone brought in the thing about the youth, because one thing United have been doing very, very well for the last 2 years, and this won't be news to any of you lot, is we've been buying up a lot of youth talent from Spain, from America, from France, from Germany, within England. We are buying a lot of 15, 16-year-old players that in 3 or 4 years' time, they won't all make it, but at the moment, in that age group, they are very, very talented players. And it's not been lost on me, and I don't think it's lost on you. And I don't think it's a coincidence that United have been doing that. And to do that under Mourinho is quite... I don't know whether he did it that much under his other clubs, but it's exciting that if United can be competitive over the next few years with what we've got coming in behind. I mean, even the players that we know about, Fosu Mensah, Pereira, Twansibi, Gomez, Chong, Rashford, on top of all these young players we've been signing... It's an exciting time for Manchester United, and maybe this summer actually will be the summer that we look at it. And we have spent a lot of money, 75 million on Lukaku, potentially, well, let's say 35 on Matic, which takes it to 110, 30 on Lindelof, 140. If we were to get Perisic, that's nearly 50. So we're going to spend about 190, and then, I suppose if you take the signings from January that we sold, 150 million net. It's nowhere near what everyone else has spent, but I think that's not bad business. And I think this summer, as much as if I was in, you take me back to May, as I said a few nights ago, I really thought after the Europa League final, people like Griezmann, Fabinho, Nainggolan, Aubameyang, I thought they were on the plate. I thought they were on the menu. So if you'd said to me back in May, you're going to get Lukaku, Lindelof, Perisic and Matic, I'd have been very disappointed. And I think everyone has a right to be disappointed by that. But today, now that it's a reality, and now that we've got Matic, and hopefully, I've always liked Perisic. I want Perisic. If you're somebody who wanted Matic and you moaned at me because I didn't want him, I would moan at you lot who don't want Perisic and say the same thing you're saying about Matic, because I really believe Perisic is a good signing. So I hope we do get him. Mourinho clearly wants him. Been linked to him since like March time. I really hope we get him. And then I think what we've got this summer is 4 signings, none of which I would call marquee signings, none of which I would call glamour signings. Lukaku would be the closest to that, but he's never really done anything on the European stage yet. I think they are all signings that either have potential in Lindelof and Lukaku, or in Perisic and Matic, are very experienced players who will bring consistency to the team. And as I said a few weeks ago, we're not far off. People confused my opinion and other people's with negativity. We're not far off. It really is 1 or 2 round pegs in round holes, and I think we'll get there. Because we may not have the glamour signings, we may not have the marquee signings, but did we ever need the marquee signings? We've already got Pogba. You've got Martial. If he plays to his potential, he's like a new signing. We've got Mkhitaryan. If he plays, he wasn't great last year. He's fantastic. We've got Rashford, who can do anything he wants to do. You've got Pereira, who was fantastic on loan last year, and he could be amazing as well. We've got a handful of attacking flair players in Martial, Mkhitaryan, Rashford, Pereira, and I forgot who the other one was. Pogba, who are really potentially top class players. You add in 4 consistent players signings, And then you add into that people like Herrera, Valencia, De Gea, Bailly. We're getting on for like 13, 14 players now before we even start talking about the likes of Lingard, Daley Blind, Juan Mata. You know, so we're starting to get to that magical 20 players that actually, whoa, we've got a very, very good squad. We're not there yet. I don't think we'll quite make it this summer. But you bring Serge Aurier in there as well, and that's another really good player, and we're nearly at that magic 20. Even before the Matic signing, I did say we're not far off. It's just the right signings that we need to make. And I'm excited about Manchester United. I genuinely am excited by Manchester United. The Matic signing has excited me far more than I thought it was. I knew I'd change tact, and not in a hypocritical way, because I think a lot of people, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did a poll and 80% of fans didn't want Matic, which is a huge amount. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I knew is when we signed him, I would back him and I'll back the manager. What I didn't know is that when we did sign him, I'd feel so positive about it. I didn't expect that. And the reason I feel positive about it is, as I said 2 or 3 times tonight, and I hope a lot of you picked up on it, the reality is, a few people have moaned at me today on social media saying, why do you keep comparing Matic to Fellaini? You're always going on about Fellaini. Well, on this occasion, I think it is 100% accurate, because in that Europa League final, which we won and Fellaini played okay in, our midfield three in the biggest game of our season was Herrera, Fellaini and Pogba. The biggest game of the season, Mourinho picked his first choice midfield three and Fellaini was in it, and that terrifies me. The reality is, we can now play Matic, Herrera and Pogba. And I'll argue this with anybody. The comparison between Matic and Fellaini is like a little boy and Messi. The Matic as a midfielder compared to Fellaini as a centre defence midfielder, it's no contest. Whatever you think about Matic, and I've not been that complimentary, I agree, but I've always said he's a good player. I have concerns about his pace. But you compare him to Fellaini and he is a massive improvement. And that signing now makes our midfield three better than it was in the Europa League final. And we won it. And I think Mourinho won that and the way he sets the team up. So now he's got a better midfielder to play with Herrera and Pogba. You would expect improvement. And I think that is a big comment that I would take away from some of the things I've been talking with people tonight before I did the show, is that Zlatan and Rooney goes and we get Lukaku. I think Lukaku's pace makes him more dangerous than Zlatan, but he's got to score 30 goals this season to just equal what Zlatan did. So there's a lot of pressure on Lukaku, and it's arguable to say, are we better equipped up front than we were this time last year with Zlatan? Arguable. I think, but what Lukaku brings is positive. Centre-backs, I think we're better than we were last year, because Rojo was a shock last year. He's very good. Bay's improved over a year he's been here. Lindelof's a new signing. Smalling I still think can do a job. Twansibi's a further year on. So I think defensively we've definitely improved. Midfield, until today, I would have gone, I'm still concerned about that midfield. It's no better than it was last season. We've still got Fellaini who's going to play there. Carrick's a year older. He doesn't play Fosu Mensah in there. Pereira's a welcome addition. But I still have concerns about us. We've now brought Matic in, and I can categorically say our midfield is stronger than it was at the end of last season, and that is something to get encouraged by. And hopefully we haven't finished yet. I think Perisic is so important, and if we do get Aurier as well, that's a shock signing in a way, but it's a welcome signing to bring somebody like that in, because I think he has concerns about Valencia. I know last year, like you do, Valencia missed quite a few games where he was rested. And I think that's all about Valencia's game is so much power that maybe he just get very tired. He's 31. So I think that's what Aurier is all about. And hopefully Fosu Mensah will go on loan. I think Fosu Mensah on loan is exactly the right move this season for him. Look at the brilliance it did for Pereira. Is Fosu Mensah going to be a regular for United this season? Probably not. Do we want him to have another season sat on the bench or, getting a handful of minutes here, there and everywhere? I don't think so. I think Fosu Mensah go on loan, bring Aurier in, and hopefully that's what's going to happen. And I'd love Fosu Mensah to go on loan to a Premier League club, a lower Premier League club, and play every week. That would be the ideal for me. It really would. Please do drop a like on the video. We're really close to 1,000 likes. I've not really asked you. Fantastic calls tonight. We always like 1,000 likes when it's the Skype show because we've had some really, really good calls and I've really, really enjoyed it. And I do feel there's a positive vibe around United at the moment. And I'm glad I did that video last night, the apology video. It needed to happen, but it was more of an explanation as to, I think this transfer window was dragging everybody down. And it hit, for me, it hit boiling point yesterday. It never goes well with 5 pints of Peroni. But we had the clear the air talk last night. I was quite honest about what things were winding me up. I don't like that journalist who calls United fans fanboys because they don't want Matic. I think United fans... somebody called me an idiot today because now Matic signs, it proves up what I know about football. Well, I disagree with that. I do disagree with that. Look, if you didn't want Matic because you had a different idea about how United should play, that doesn't make you an idiot because Mourinho signs him. What we do need to do is back Mourinho and back Matic and get behind the team, which is what we're all doing. But it doesn't mean we're idiots because we had a different idea that we maybe wanted an Eric Dyer or we wanted a Nainggolan or we wanted a Fabinho. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you don't get that, you've got to park it because we're not the manager of Manchester United. Jose Mourinho is. I love Jose Mourinho. I love what he's done at United. I love the camaraderie and team spirit he's got. And if he thinks Matic is the right man, then I didn't agree with it. I moaned about it. But now he's signed. No, I'm not moaning about it because that would be wrong. We are a fantastic community on the United stand. The vast majority of us are united behind Manchester United. We've signed a new player and we should back that new player and give him the opportunity because our manager wants him, and I'll certainly be behind that. What I will say is though, if we play Man City whenever we're playing Man City and our team gets overrun in the midfield because it's too slow, I think we've all got I would have a right to say, well, that was my concern. But on the same hand, that's nothing new. If Rashford misses a chance in the last minute against Man City and we could have won the game, I'd say the same things. I love Marcus Rashford, but his finishing and his final ball is something that he's got a weakness on at the moment, although it looks much improved. Arison says, at the beginning of last season, the United team was broken and Mourinho has been putting it together with some super glue. Job done. Hope so. Tino Bullman says, what if we are just waiting until winter and then Griezmann will sign? I don't think Griezmann will sign in January because I don't think you do that sort of deal in January. He'd be cup tied as well. But thanks for the contribution, Tino. Thanks for the contribution, Orison. Jared Pazerman's made a contribution. Big positive is Oreo gets to a 92 in FIFA career. I think he's got good potential, but I don't judge players on that. Sharakari always makes contributions. He's a Real Madrid fan. He's made a couple tonight. When you sign Chelsea rejects Mata, Lukaku, Matic and Jose. And he also says, breaking, Matic reportedly attempted a suicide jump as he jumped from top of the Premier League to 6th. Well, we'll see what happens next season. And Marco Roos made a contribution and said, here, Mark, buy yourself some sweets. Well, thanks for everybody who contributed on the Super Chat. A few of you have been asking about the T-shirts again. The T-shirts are available through Amazon. If you live in the UK or you live in America, a few people have sent me pictures of them wearing the T-shirt. Thankfully, they are wearing jeans and everything else. It wasn't a rude one. I will get them tweeted out for you. But if you want to get a United Stand T-shirt, they're available in 5 colours. I think they're available in kids and women's sizes as well, and men's sizes. So you can get that through Amazon. The link is in the video description. But positivity reigns. I don't know whether Matic will have any involvement against Sampdoria on Wednesday, but we will have a watch along. We'll be previewing that game for you tomorrow as well. Thanks for everybody who's dropped a like on the video and supported all our callers tonight. If you haven't got on, keep trying. We want to get your opinions. We'll be back on Thursday with that. Rodney's with me tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Rodney and his Velvet Tones. It's Rodney night on a Tuesday, so you'll enjoy that. We're interested to see what he's got to say. And also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. Fantastic community we have here. Not everybody agrees with everybody, but in the main it is just United fans having their say, and it's a fantastic community we have on the United Stand, whether you're commenting live or whether you're commenting not live, because I tell you what, I often visit an hour after or tomorrow morning and read the comments, and there's always a few funny banter comments in there and a little bit of conversation going on, so get involved. I've just been asked to comment on Daley Blind and Phil Jones' suspension. I tried to avoid that because I wanted to be positive tonight. All I would say is, yet again, footballing authorities out of touch, disgraceful behaviour. They basically they missed a couple of tests because they were out celebrating with the fans or something like that. because obviously what had happened in Manchester with the bombing, and everyone was very emotional. But UEFA have slapped a 2-match ban on both of them. It's typical UEFA, very like FA. If you get a chance to take a pop at United, people will. And that's exactly why I'm behind Matic now, because he's a Manchester United player. And people will start taking a pop at him. Outsiders, let them do that. He's now one of us, he's one of our players, and we back him. Within this community, of course, over the season, there'll be times where we go, Matic was brilliant, Matic was bad. That's football. But he's not Fellaini. He's not been here for 4 years, and we've all had our time to make our mind up about him. He's a brand new player, and I hope it really works out. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. Might be back live later, you never know, but I don't feel there will be a transfer news story tonight. Aurier's the one, but I did that this morning if you missed it. And yeah, very, very positive. Thanks for the show. Really enjoyed it tonight. And we've got another player on. We've got another player part of the squad. We've got another midfielder. And I really do take it as a positive. If you don't think it is about Fellaini, just remember the Europa League final. Fellaini, Herrera, Pogba was our midfield three in our biggest game of the season. Now it's Matic, Herrera, Pogba. And Matic is a huge improvement on Fellaini, which means our midfield, the most important place in a football pitch, is better than it was last year. That's a positive. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll be back with you tomorrow with the transfer show in the morning. Rodney tomorrow night. Maybe, who knows, we might get another player in this week. We've got plenty of time before we play West Ham. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. I've really enjoyed the show tonight, so thanks to everybody who called in, and thanks for everyone on the live comments. Really, really enjoyed it. Positivity's building.